So Fabio Cannavale, thank you very much for giving us the time and share your big knowledge around travel and tech. You are the founder of lastminute.com holding and CEO, and today we speak about the future of travel tech post-coronavirus. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Hello to everybody.
Where are you today?
I'm at home in Lugano.
Lovely. So let's start with the first question. There are many leaders at the moment that are trying to understand how to manage their company. How are you personally responding to the crisis? Can you share with us the message and vision that lastminute.com is sharing with its customer and staff?
So important for the moment, we are sharing with our customer. We are saying that the future will be to travel again, and we just try to solve the current position and help the people to come back home or whatever to reschedule their vacation and travels. With the employees, we try to keep the mood of the employees very good. The employees are currently working we have 1,200 employees. They are all working remotely everywhere in the world, including India at the moment. And so we take a lot of measure, of course, to cut costs wherever is possible from the government. In Switzerland was the first country. We have most of the employee paid by the government. And because, of course, today we don't have need to have all the people, but we are trying to, let's say, save all the jobs and be really ready with all the resources we need when the business will start again. We also try to have as more cash as possible because we think in this period of uncertainty, cash is king. And fortunately, the government in Switzerland support us also with cash guaranteed by the banks. We started a situation with a very, very healthy cash position with 130 million. The first 2 months we did our record, let's say, month in the history. And so we were very strong. And so being strong, we are ready. We, let's say, in a way, freeze the company. And we are ready to start again whenever it will be possible.
Thanks a lot. Of course, this is a very special period for every company, as you just mentioned, and you're also trying to preserve all your job force, which is, I guess, one of the biggest capital that you have. But in this exceptional period, how does one strike a balance between generating profit and corporate social responsibility? What means corporate social responsibility today?
So let's say first corporate social responsibility is to assure the work and the salary to all the employees. I think that as an entrepreneur, this is my first mission. And to assure that also our customer have no problem. And this is our main focus to maintain a healthy company. We don't care, of course, today, this year about the profit. The only thing we care is the surviving of the company and to be a very strong company when we start again. And this is, let's say, main social responsibilities as an employee, as an entrepreneur of lastminute.com. On the other hand, as an entrepreneur, I also feel the social responsibility of helping people. So with the Heroes, we launched a call to, let's say, support the startup on any idea, any business that can be successful to relaunch the economy. In particular, that was in Italy, and we gave this 100,000 K to the best startup, and we are selected that one. So let's say also supporting with your resources what you can do. So for example, I think also as an opinion leader, I'm working and try to counsel wherever is doing a startup or whoever is thinking how to manage the recovery, because I think it will be very important and will be very different from different states, how to react to first support the companies and then how to start quickly a normal life again.
Thanks a lot. And of course, different state, different way to react to Corona. Mentioning one of the most famous UK person we know, which is Wiston Churchill, once he said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." Are there any opportunity for lastminute.com that could arise from this special period?
Yes, I see lots of opportunity in the crisis. I remember we grew the company in the crisis. So from 2008 and after, we really grew 20, 30, 40% per year, thanks to the crisis. So my vision is, of course, there is opportunity, because in this change, the stronger company, the smartest company, the more flexible, the one that will have success. A crisis means disruption. So a lot of things will change. People, I think, will travel again, maybe in a different way, and companies that are more flexible, more quick to catch consumer needs and give the right products will be the successful one. So there will be probably a selection of company. Of course, the digital company, but this is in any sector, it's very clear, will have more success than the traditional one. And so it's a disruption. In disruption, there are always a lot of opportunity. At any level, as entrepreneur, as financial guys, as a startup, crisis, it means changing things up. So it's always opportunity for newcomers.
Yes, of course, we need also to try to understand and figure out how long will it last and which be the economic impact overall, I guess.
No, of course, but let's say whatever you can think. If you have a crisis, let's say, I don't know, as they say, I don't know, minus 20% GDP in most European countries this year, minus 10 or 5 or whatever next year, there are opportunities for startup. Of course, there are for last minute. Of course, if everything will be locked down for 2 years, that would be maybe a problem. But I think that sooner or later people will start again to travel. And so, and not only to travel, to live, to go out, to do things, maybe in a different way. But this is exactly the value for startup, for innovative entrepreneurs, to really get the customer needs from the crisis and adapt very quickly.
And then let's move immediately to the next question, which is try to give a day. When do you think we might get back traveling as normal? And will it be the same normal as before, or how will consumer will change their traveling way after the corona?
I mean, it's very difficult to predict the date. We did a lot of scenario with our banks consultant, and they are very, very different. By the way, we are not really looking at when people really would travel, but also expectation that for the industry and for many consumer goods is very important. For travel, what is really important is when the people will think again to travel. And so they are start booking. Probably there will be offer from hotel, from airlines, from tour operator to have to book and to have the possibility to change for every events. And probably there will be difference, the policy of cancellation and things like that with more certainty. So personally, I would think in general, in a maximum of 2 years, when you have also the way the vaccine and that people forget. I would travel in the same way. That was exactly again the same of 9/11. At the end, the people say, no, they don't travel, terrorism. After 2-3 years, everything has forgot. So let's say in the medium term, I think things will go exactly as before. There will be a more long, we don't know how long period, where maybe there are constraints, like it is in China today, space, maybe in the place there will be less seats, or there is more control. Remember that after 9/11, everything changed in security. Maybe there will be check for temperature every time. You should have an app or certificate. So that I don't know today. There will be some measure, but I see, I feel, I perceive the people, especially in Italy, that are locked down since 1 month, almost 3 weeks. They really want to go out, go travel. People start talking about the future now that the number of new cases are going down. And so I think this pressure from people that want to live will be the energy that at the end will permit the world to go again in a normal way.
And do you think that this energy, as you've described, will even grow further the economy, like sort of new form?
This is difficult to predict. It's always very important how will be the reaction of the government. Probably there will be different situation by country. Of course, the country that have more money in the government, they can do much more. A lot is psychologically at the end. because one is the waste of 2-3 months of lockdown, but a lot is psychological. So if the people feel that they have the money, at the end they feel and they will do things. What I see from what is the policy, what it is, I'm not an economist, but let's say if you put the money in and you print money at the end, to speak a very simple language, and you put the money in the pocket of the people will spend the money. So all that probably will create, if everything works, some inflation. But the easiest way to do is just what the Swiss government is doing, many government, is just print money, put the money in the pocket of the people. At the end, money is a convention. So at the end, but important, it's psychological to have the money. Then overall, these things probably will create some inflation, but this is a way to recover the economy.
Clear. And talking about a segment of the industry where you're working for, so specifically the aviation firms, Business Insider suggested that the number of aviation firms will not make it through the crisis. How do you expect the industry to evolve post-crisis? Will we see many M&A or newcomers coming up?
Yeah, probably none of the airlines could survive without government help. So it depends then what is government help. Can be loan, can be grant, can be whatever. So at the end, of course, there will be consolidation. Probably there will be some airlines that are saved by the government, other airlines that are not saved. At the end, yes, some consolidation, but in a few years, people will travel and fly again, or in 1 year, 6 months, we don't know. And so there will be need. Maybe there will be also potentially to have newcomer, or more than newcomer, because at the end this is an asset business. So at the end you need to have planes. So could be that there is some restructuring, because if a company failed, then the planes will be used from another one. So there will be, of course, some change in all the sector, especially for the big player like airlines or big hotel chains. When there is more small players like small hotels, this will survive or close someone, but it's much easier to have a freezing mode.
Thanks. So, and talking about the leisure operator, is there anyone that is particularly lucky in this situation and they're ready to respond better to this storm? And in case, which one are they?
Yeah, but of course, the easier stuff is always for a digital operator with no assets. So let's say I make the example of booking.com, for example. That probably is like, let's say, last minute, only much better, much bigger. So at the end, of course, they have some cash problem in the beginning, but they are full of cash, so that's not a problem. They have a P&L problem, of course, for how long it will last, but then they don't have the debt to have the hotels, and they don't own the resource. So they are the easier and quicker when everything starts. So they can collect any offer from any hotels and then be very quick to respond and to have them and to help them to, let's say, have new bookings. While, of course, if you look of operator that are real assets like hotels or plane, there is a financial distress, because really you lose money in all the months because you have to pay for your assets, and then we will see how strong they are financially or how strong support they can receive from the local government. But I think there will be a big difference between digital no asset players versus people that are asset, that they have debt related to the asset, and so they could have a financial constraints.
So again, I would say to play the card of digital, it's always a good move, also during a crisis, if I understood what you're saying. So you are, of course, an Italian. Your company is international; it's a global company, but of course the headquarters is in Switzerland and in Ticino, in this case, in Chiasso, and you're listed on the Swiss Stock Exchange. So the Swiss Federal Council has agreed to support the economy. By now, with 40 billion francs, we believe it's going to be more. What do you think of the measures that have taken by now, if you have any way benefit by them already? And would you have any specific requests for the travel and travel tech industry, which probably is one of the most affected by the corona?
Yes, I think the Swiss government move very fast and very good. So what is very important in this moment is not to talk. There is a big difference. I am entrepreneur all over Europe, and I can see really the difference in timing, especially between Switzerland and Italy, but also France and Germany, UK. So the government of Swiss, they do the things and they act. So in 2-3 days, most of the company that I participated, the small one, they had the money in the banks. So they say we give a bank guarantee up to 10% of the revenues, and that was in 2 days done for the old small company. For the big one like us, they require more time because of course they have more check, but it's something that is real. And so I think today this is really what you need. Also, for example, to have the people that are not working because the one that are at home not working in this month, paid by the government. This is, we have office all over Europe. The only country where we have only for already for March is Switzerland. In Italy, we are talking that you can get from banks some anticipation maybe in April of what the government will give you maybe in September. Because what it's working is that you still pay the employees and that the government pay you back. No, and it's very important that you do quickly. And then is again Switzerland fastest country in Europe. So for a company, I think it was really good to be here because no bureaucracy. I don't know what is the difference of bureaucracy and non-bureaucracy. I was really talking about with friends in the last days. Could be that in Italy you have more bureaucracy because it's a way to gain time and not to pay out the money. Or maybe it's a question of mentality. Whatever it is, the fact that in Switzerland bureaucracy in these days are at zero, it's really good because it's fast and you need to have fast help for the company.
And concerning specifically the travel and travel tech industry, do you expect or would you recommend to the Swiss government to take some specific actions?
I think clearly the government has to start from really measures that are very clear and that are for everyone. For example, one of the mess that I see because I have different company, I have also buildings, things like that, is what about the rent? It should be, I think, any government say clear instruction because, of course, there is something that is unique in the history. So the government asked the people to close the shops and the offices. So there is a big debate everywhere if people have to pay the rent or not because they cannot use the space. And this could be a huge legal dispute, I see, what to do. But again, the government should say, okay, for the moment that I say, for all the time I say the office is closed, nobody should pay the rent, or the opposite, or whatever. But I think clear rules are very important. Then for travel specific, what they should do, the government is in general, but this also again is, I don't think it's for travel, is clear rules how to start up again. If you read all the studies say that 1 month is a cost, 2 months is 2.5 the same cost, 3 months, I'm talking about lockdown, is maybe 5 times. So time is very important. It's very important to give the idea of the people to recover as fast as possible. I think it's just a question of technology. You have to discriminate people because, of course, older people have more risk and they have to stay at home more. Healthy people or people that have already done the corona can do much more. And this is just what they're doing in South Korea, in Japan, in China. So to have a code, an app, whatever you can see, you can do to let people to go, to move and to do whatever they want. This, of course, is a big debate, especially in Europe, between privacy and freedom. My position is that you should do that. If you want to move, you have to give me everything. Otherwise, you stay at home. So you want your privacy, you stay at home, no problem. This could be a very easy way to solve this debate. We will see. What I think a lot will be done about that because it's clear that if no control, letting everything out immediately is a disaster. So, but keeping the people at home is even more a disaster. The measure that should be done as soon as possible is to know exactly how many people are infected. This is also a big problem because nobody knows. So if you look at the official numbers, for example, Italy is, I don't know, 110, Switzerland is, I think, 18, something like that. Switzerland being the most infected country in the world per capita. This is the official number. Then if you look at the real number, probably in Italy, they're talking about 6 million, so 10% of the population. My impression is Switzerland should be even more, maybe 15, because nobody is tested in Switzerland unless you go in the hospital. But this is a very positive number. So having also the number, maybe we discover in June, in July, that 30, 40% of the people had already this virus. This is a very positive information. So it is a moment where technology, control, and checking will be key to know. While today we are all in every country still at some medieval things. So don't stay at home, don't do anything. And this is a good way for the urgency, but it's not a good way for the recovery.
Thanks. Fabio, apart from being the CEO of one of the largest travel tech company in Europe, you are also known since many years as an investor in startup and scale up, also facilitator, ecosystem creator. What are your expectations for the startup scene post-crisis, both in terms of entrepreneurships and the investor side?
My expectation, as I told before, is to have a lot of opportunity. What I participated over 100 startups, and we are trying to support all of them. So my message is, first, cash is king. So you have to survive, you have to make cash. So do whatever you can do to have cash. It means get cash from the banks and don't waste cash. Don't pay anything and try to cut costs in the crisis period. This is especially valuable for the startup, because the startup normally has the burn rate. If you want, some startup doesn't have a big difference because they have cash in hands, they have a burn rate, so they waste cash every month. So the situation is similar. So a lot of companies now are like a startup. So they have some months of surviving for the cash they have. So if you want, the startup can be even better in the ecosystem, if they are well funded. Of course, startups that are looking today for money, they are not in a good situation. Second, opportunities. So always, as I was saying before, when there is disruption, and there will be a lot of disruption, and disruption is not only the way we live, but also, I don't know, people not paying debt, a financial crisis, a lot of different things. People working more remote, and there is opportunities. There is opportunity because there is different way to do the same things, buy for the restaurant, for taking taxi, or many things. So at the end, for example, one startup that they were very smart is with taxi. They, of course, the business of taxi is zero. They do an app, they convert it very quickly that you can use the taxi to get food from the restaurant or to bring things to friends. And so it's from a taxi company to a delivery company. This is an example. But let's say there will be a lot of opportunity. So if the entrepreneur are smart, quick, and have some cash, they can have. To do that, we also supporting them. We are investing, and we do a special call that ended yesterday, and we received 320 applications in 15 days to finance quickly some good idea to start again. But then we are going on to finance our startup because the cash is there. And so it's a lot of opportunity, I think, for startups.
Thanks. You know that as Netcomm is quite a while that we're working in terms of lobbying in order to make sure that Ticino can really get Switzerland Innovation Park, and we are proposing to create one around lifestyle tech, so fashion tech, travel tech, food tech, in order to combine technology and innovation and cash and capital of Switzerland, but also the peculiarity of being so close to the north of Italy, well-known lifestyle country in the world. We're working here with large technology providers like Accenture, but also fashion companies like Bali, and also the institution like the university. How to position Ticino as an international digital hub for startups, specifically on lifestyle tech, and what do we miss? Do we still miss something that we should unlock? in order to get the potential?
Yes, I'm an example of that because I moved my company 12 years ago. So I would say first what we have, and today it's very easy to do a positive marketing because it's very clear to everyone that Switzerland, from an economic point of view, manage very well. From also communication point of view, manage very well. I hope that in the, let's say, medical part, there will be no disaster, but I don't think so because I think they can manage. And so at the end, I have some startups that that are here that are very happy to be here because they receive 10% of their revenue in credit in 3 days, and this is a good advantage. If they have people at home, they are paid by the government. So there is great asset that Switzerland has. That is still the case, and you really value that. So at the end is flexibility for the work, low taxes for workers. This is very important. Good relationship, supportive banks. What is the constraint? The constraint is that the lack of people in Switzerland, especially in Ticino, or local people, because there is not the best talent go in the north to Zurich. There is not so many people. So you have to rely here of a lot of people coming from North Italy. That is a great resource. But in the years, has always been a lot of pressure about that the frontalieri are a problem. That I don't know after that how we manage, because of course also the spread of the virus in Switzerland was in part due to frontalieri that was coming, but Switzerland cannot close the door because when you have 60,000 workers out of 300,000, at the end it's clear that you cannot miss these people. So this, I think, the fear of having problem, constraints, permission, all this kind of stuff of worker is always the problem, let's say, that company face. And the reason why many startup or big company maybe didn't came here with a lot of people. And so I think this is really the part where the government should work clearly. So clear rules, being very clear that Switzerland will stay in for working kind of part always in Schengen, that there is no problem with permission, there is no problem with a very high minimum salary. And this is the main constraint that where Switzerland has to work if they want to save that. Because if there are frontalieri or if they are coming from Germany, from UK, we have a lot of employees coming from Germany, from UK in Chiasso, is the same. If you want to flourish, to booming, there is not enough people in Ticino and competence to have the right. So there will be a mixed, maybe a company with 50% or I don't know, but let's say that should be open to have a mix of new residents in Ticino that come from abroad and local one.
Thank you very much, Fabio, for such an interesting discussion with a lot of important insights and knowledge, practical examples, vision and leadership. I really want to thank you for your time. We're going to share and distribute this content with other leaders in our Netcomm community. Do you have like any recommendation for us as an association for the next 3 months? What should we do to help leaders as you?
I think first you have to share the information that is good. So let's say whatever is a good example of best practice or things that were done in Switzerland, I think is good. And this is good also, maybe doing interview, I think is something good. So to understand each other in the moment of crisis, it's very good to have communication, to understand which is the right path. And then maybe also take advantage of the crisis to think of what at work, so like this support, what didn't, and so what the government can do even better to fertilize the ground for a company startup or a big corporation coming here. For example, for big corporation, of course, it's even better than startup because maybe you don't need to have all the people here, but you can leverage on the advantage of having some offices here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Ciao.